Learn how to properly draft, cut and sew a queen and neckline bustier. I'll be taking you through each and every step you need to know in this tutorial. Hey guys, welcome to Sewing with Damara. If you haven't joined this family, make sure to hit on that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications. Now let's dive right into this. These are the materials I use for this tutorial. First, here is my lace, which I use for the sleeves and for the yoke. What I have here is about 1.5 yard. This beautiful Ankara print, I use this for both the skirts and the blouse, but for just the blouse you'll be needing about 1.5 yards. Make sure you have your lining. Also here I have my interfacing. This is a soft hairstay. Make sure you also have your wadding, and you'll be using this to pad your bustier. Okay, now let's quickly draft out our pattern. From the top of your pattern paper, come down by about 0.5 inch and rule a straight line across. This line is also going to be serving as your shoulder line. Place your tape there at the shoulder line. Mark your shoulder to your bust point. Mine is 11 inches. Mark your shoulder to under bust. Mine is 15. Then next you are going to mark your shoulder to waist. I would like you to note that the shoulder to waist in front is longer than that of the back. So you can go ahead and take the measurement differently. Or if you have the measurement of the shoulder to waist in front, we can use that. Don't worry, I'll show you how to get the one of the back further in the tutorial. Now go ahead and connect all these points together with a straight line. For more clarity, let's label this. This is the shoulder line, this is the bust point, under bust, waistline. Now from the waistline, you are going to come down by about 6 inches to get your full blouse length. Note that this part is totally based on your preference and how long you want your blouse to be. I'll just be labeling this FL, which stands for the full length of the blouse. This is the center front where you'll be taking all your measurements from, and this is the side front. On the shoulder line, come in by 3 inches for your neck width and come down by 3 inches for your neck depth. This is the standard adult neckline measurement. Connect this with a curve. Mark half of your shoulder measurement on this shoulder line. Mine is 8.5 inches. Come down from that point by 1 inch for your shoulder slope, because you know our shoulder is not straight. Now connect this into the neckline. To get your chest line measurement, you are going to divide your bust by 6 and add 1.5 to whatever you get. After doing mine, I had 8.25. So make sure you are marking what you get from the shoulder slope. I'll connect this with a straight line and I'll label this CL, which is chest line. On the chest line, mark half of your shoulder measurements and connect it with a straight line to the shoulder slope. Divide what you have from the shoulder slope to the chest line by 2. Mark the midpoint. Come in from that point by 0.5 inch. Mark quarter of your bust measurement on the chest line. Now you connect all these points together to get your armhole curve. For the darts, mark half of your nipple to nipple measurement on the bust point and on the full length. And connect this with a straight line. Coming to the shoulder area, divide what you have there on the shoulder slope by 2 and connect this back into the bust point. The next thing you're going to do now is to get your new neckline, and for me, I'll be coming down from the shoulder line. You can see where I place my tape there, and I'll be marking 6 inches. This is going to cover my bust properly because this is something I would like to wear to church. So you can use 5 or 6 inches depending on your preference, because this is going to be a sweetheart neckline, so it's going to still go down towards the middle. On the under bust line, mark 1 inch towards the center front. Please, for those that have a smaller bust, here you'll be using 0.5 inch. Towards the side front, mark 1.5 inch, and for those that have smaller bust, on this side you'll be using 1 inch. Make sure to mark the same thing on the waistline and connect these 2 points together with a straight line. Connect what you have there from the waistline into the full length, just like I'm doing here. This is going to help to give you a very nice fitting. You'll be connecting a curve from the under bust into the bust point, so just watch how I'm doing this to know how to go about yours. I'll just be outlining all these lines with my marker. Before we connect this back into the neckline, we'll be drawing out our sweetheart neckline. From the chest line, come up by 1.5 inch. Place your tape at that point and using that neckline there as your guide, draw your sweetheart neckline just like you see me doing here. This sweetheart neckline is now our new neckline and no longer the straight one. Come out on both sides of this curve by 0.75 inch. For those with smaller busts, please use 0.5 inch and you'll be connecting this back into the bust point just like you see me doing here. Now this part is really important, especially if you want your blouse to come out really nice around the bust area. What you need to do is to take what you have in between these darts here. Mine is 1.5 inch and you will be replacing it on this other side here. So I'm just going to mark 1.5 inch there and complete it with a curve. Now the reason why we are doing this is because you would notice that after closing in your dart, you are going to be short of 1.5 inch, and this is going to make your blouse not to come out nice. You are going to run short on fabric around your armhole area, and you do not want that. Okay, on the chest line, replace what you have there in between the darts on the chest line and add your stitching allowance. For me, I'll be using 1.5 inch as my stitching allowance. Go ahead and connect all these points together to get your new armhole curve. On the underbust, mark quarter of your underbust measurement. For me, it is 8 inches. Replace what you have in between your darts and add your stitching allowance. Mark quarter of your waist measurement on your waistline. Replace what you have in between your darts and add your stitching allowance. Coming to the full length, you can take the round measurement of where your blouse is stopping. Mark quarter of where your blouse is stopping, and I'll be adding my stitching allowance. Now go ahead and connect all these points together just like you will see me doing. To draw out the queen and neckline, the first thing you are going to do is to finish your new armhole. As you can see there, it's not complete yet. So remember, we took what we have in between our dart. For me, it is 1.5 inch, and we replaced it by the side to get our armhole. So now what you're going to do is to take what you have in between your darts. For me, it is 1.5 inch, and I'll be marking 1.5 inch from this old armhole here. I'll also be marking 1.5 inch from the shoulder slope. I'll connect this with a straight line. Now I'm going to connect these points together with my curve to get my new armhole just like this. So you can see here that we've gotten our new armhole. It's really important that you do not miss this step, okay? Now after getting our new armhole, taking the measurement of what I have here on the shoulder slope, you would notice that you have an excess of 1.5 inch. So what I'm going to do is from the neckline, I'm going to mark 1.5 inch. I know you might be thinking that this is going to make the queen and neckline not to come out really nice, but I promise you this is the best way to go about it, and your queen and neckline is going to sit perfectly on your shoulders. Now after marking that, coming to this area here, I'll be marking 3 inches. Now go ahead and connect this with a straight line. If you want your queen and neckline to be straight, you can go ahead and leave yours like this, but I wanted mine to be kind of curved, so I'll be connecting a curve between these 2 points like this. I'll just be using my marker to outline this properly for you guys to see. So after doing this, I'm just going to label this the yoke, and I'll go ahead and label every other part of my pattern paper. This is the center front and is to be attached to the side front this way. I'll be labeling my bust point, under bust, waistline and full length. I'll be doing the same thing to the side. Remember, we said that the shoulder to waist in front is longer than that of the back, so we'll be taking out a bust dart. First of all, outline your bust points like this. Come down from the side by about 1.5 inch. For those of you that didn't take out your measurement separately, you can use 1.5 inch. This is usually the standard, but if you have yours, you go ahead and mark down the difference between your front waistline and the back waistline. Connect this back into the bust point and shade it out because we'll be cutting out this point. Now go ahead and cut out your pattern paper just like you see me doing here. Make sure to close up this dart and tape it down. Now this is the 3 parts of the front of my blouse. Here I have the side front, the center front and the yoke. There's another thing I forgot to mention. Now on this side front and center front, place the bust point together like this. Now because of the darts, you would notice that one will be shorter than the other. I should have done this on the pattern paper, but I'll just be showing you guys. So taking the measurements of what I have here, you will see that I have 5.5 inches on the side. Taking the measurement of what I have here to the bust point, you will see that I have 5 inches, which means that this side is about 0.5 inch shorter than the side. So this is something you need to take note of, and we'll be replacing that 0.5 inch when we are cutting this out. Here I have my fabric and lining unfold. The lining is right under, and I made sure that I put the center front at the folded edge of the fabric. Now remember, I said we are going to replace 0.5 inch on this side, so just come up by 0.5 inch and then blend it into the center front like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, adding 0.5 inch all the way around. On this side piece, I'll be adding 0.5 inch to this side, 0.5 inch to this top. Then I'm going to cut it through the side. I decided that I wanted my blouse to be longer and have a back waist effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down from the waistline by 9 inch. I'll make sure that I align the side with the center piece. So at the side, I'm going to go up by 1 inch here. I'll be using my curve to connect this from this point into the center of the blouse, just like this. So now we've gotten our back waist effect. Go ahead and cut this out, adding 0.5 inch stitching allowance to the bottom part. Make sure that you notch your under bust line on both the side and the center front. This is going to help you when you are padding your bustier. I'll go ahead and take out my lining, and what we'll be doing next is to cut out the wording for each of this piece. I've done that, and you make sure that your wording stops at the under bust point. This is why you should notch your under bust point, and also make sure that your wording is about 0.5 inch shorter than the main fabric. As you can see here at the top, it's about 0.75 inch shorter. The next thing you will do is to join the side and the center piece together. So to do that, just place the side on the center piece like this. Make sure it's the right size facing each other, and go ahead and pin this down like I'm doing here. Make sure that when you get to the under bust and the notch points are together like this. I'll go ahead and complete pinning this down. You'll be stitching this down using 0.5 inch stitching allowance, and I'll be doing the same thing to the other side. So I'm going to go to my machine and stitch this down using 0.5 inch stitching allowance on both sides. I have my lining here and I've ironed my interfacing on it. I'll be doing the same thing I did on the main fabric, also on the lining. After stitching this down, you can see what we have here, both on the main fabric and the lining. Now I'm going to be showing you the points you'll be notching to iron your seams open. Notch around the waist area. Make your second notch at the under bust. Also make a notch around the bust point area. You'll be ironing your seams open both on the fabric and the lining. So after ironing my seams open, you can see how beautiful this came out. You can see how the cup is standing. I'll just be turning this to the right side for you guys to see how beautiful it came out. For those of you that don't know how to pad a bustier properly, I might be making a tutorial later on it, and if I do that, I'll just put the link right under this video so you can watch it. Next thing you will be working on now is going to be the yoke. I've already gone ahead to cut out my yoke, and I made sure to add 0.5 inch stitching allowance all the way around. Also make sure that you cut 2 pieces for each side of your yoke. Make sure you place your yoke right sides facing each other. All you're going to do is to stitch this down around this side here using 0.5 inch stitching allowance, and you'll be doing this on both sides of your yoke. After stitching this down, make sure to trim off the excess that you have from your stitch and turn this over to the right side and give it a good press so it stays in place. After giving this a good press, this is how beautiful it came out. Now you are going to bring in your blouse and you'll be attaching the yoke to the blouse. To do this, the yoke started from the side of the armhole, so I'm going to place it on the right side like this, and I'm going to pin it down. I'll do the same thing to the other side. Make sure to notch the midpoint of your blouse. Bringing in the lining, make sure you place the right side of the lining to the right side of the fabric like this. Make sure that the notch points are together or the midpoints are together. Now go ahead and pin this down all the way around. You'll be stitching this down using 0.5 inch stitching allowance, and make sure to stitch this down towards the lining after doing that. I know a lot of you will be wondering about the back of the dress. I had to make a detailed tutorial on this so you guys can learn how to cut and sew a corset back from start to finish. That will be the next tutorial I'll be posting on my channel, and I'll be putting the link for you guys in the description box and comment section so you can check it out. The next thing you'll be doing is to attach the front and the back together at the shoulder, and to do that I'm going to place them together like this. You can see how I place that, and I'm going to go ahead and pin this down, and I'll be stitching this down using 0.5 inch stitching allowance. After doing that, you can see how beautiful this came out. The seams are hidden inside and it has a clean finish. The next thing you're going to do now is to insert your sleeve, and you can use any sleeve of your choice. If you want to use a basic sleeve, I have a tutorial on my channel and I'll be putting the link for you guys if you want to check it out. Make sure you take the measurement of what you have around your armhole. Mine is on fold here and I have 10 inches, which means my total armhole is 20 inches, but I'll be using a funnel shaped sleeve. I've gone ahead to cut out my sleeve here. You can see what I have. If you'd love to learn how to cut a funnel shaped sleeve without having to cut out a flare, I have a tutorial on my channel. As you can see, I used the pattern paper to cut it out. I have a detailed tutorial on my channel and I'll be putting the link for those of you that want to learn this, so you can easily click on that to watch it. So folding this into two, you can see how beautiful this is looking. You can see the down part is in a flare. Now go ahead and notch the midpoint of your sleeve. I'm going to bring in my blouse and I'll be placing the notch part at the shoulder. I'll go ahead and pin this down all the way around my armhole, and I'll be stitching this down using 0.5 inch stitching allowance. After stitching this down, this is how beautiful it came out. Now the next thing we are going to do, guys, is to arrange our blouse properly and pin it down. So starting around this armhole area, I'll make sure that the armholes are together. I'll pin it down and I'm going to pin down the rest side of the blouse, and I'll do this on both sides. After pinning this down, what we'll be doing now is to take out our accurate body measurements, then go to the machine and stitch this down. So starting from the bust point, you can see how I'm placing my tape. Go ahead and take the measurement of what you have around that part. For me, my bust divided by 2 is 20, but I have an excess of 3 inches because what I have here is 23 inches. So I'm going to be taking 1.5 inch from both sides. I'll be taking the measurement of what I have around my waist. My waist measurement is divided by 2 is 15, and what I have here is 18. And I'll be marking 1.5 inch from both sides, and I'll connect it to what I have on my bust area. Coming to this down part also, I'll take the full measurement of what I have, which is 24 inches. My excess is also 1.5 inch, and I'm going to take it out on both sides and connect this together. Now you're going to be stitching this down starting from the sleeve, then into the side. After stitching this down, you can see what we have. Make sure you notch what you have on your waistline before you turn this out and iron it, so that the waist area will sit perfectly and not look squeezed. After ironing it out, you can see how beautiful this came out. You can see how the sleeve looks also. Next thing you'll be doing here is to finish the lower part of your blouse. So to do this, first of all, take the measurement of what you have around this place. What I had was around 46 inches. So I've cut out what I'll be using to finish the lower part of my blouse. And opening this up, I cut this out with the width of 2 inches. You can see that I've ironed my hairstay inside. And then I folded it into 2, and I further folded it into 2 again and gave it a really good press. Make sure that you give this a good press so that it will be very easy for you to attach it to your blouse. So how you are going to attach it to the blouse is you are going to simply fold in the edge of the bias. Let's just call this a bias, and then you are going to be putting your blouse in between what you have there. So just put your blouse inside. You just go to your machine and you're going to stitch this down. You guys, I was in a hurry to go and fix my eyelets because it was getting late and the next day was Sunday and I needed to wear this to church. So for the eyelet spacing, I used 2.5 inches. Every detail you'll be needing on the back of this dress on how to make a corset back with eyelets, with modesty panel, lacing and everything is going to be in the other tutorial. We've come to the end of this tutorial, guys. I hope this tutorial was really helpful. Make sure to hit on the like button, to subscribe, to share this to family and friends who you think would need this. Make sure to also turn on your post notification to know when the next tutorial is out. I'll see you guys in my next tutorial.